Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Raven Knight here. Welcome, one and all, to another awesome For Honor content creator interview video. Something that I really want to try to do more of. I really want to get to know and talk to other content creators, and more importantly, I want y'all to get to know them. And today I have a very special guest. You guys should know him by now, and if you don't, I talked about him in a recent video. He's one of my favorite content creators out there, and he's a big up and coming. I know he's going to surpass me soon. This is Mr. RaptorRex. How are you doing, Raptor?
Hello. Good afternoon. Man, a lot of kind things already off the bat. I think it'd be ego to think people know exactly who I am, so I like to stay modest. But if they know who I am, thank them for watching my stuff all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I know who you are, and believe me, I've had a lot of people come to my streams just to say, Raven, have you heard of Raptor? Have you seen Raptor's new video? And so plenty of my own community at least knows you. So it is awesome to finally get to have an interview with you. Really looking forward to it. So for those of you who've never seen one of these interview videos, I've got 10 questions to ask Raptor, and then at the very end, if he has anything to ask me, I open the floor to him to ask his question. So, Raptor, if you're ready, we'll start with our very first one, and this is one that I like to ask to all my content creator interviewers. So, the name. You go by RaptorRex, and I actually remember in a stream you popped in, someone asked in the stream, hey, do you like dinosaurs? And you said you do, but that's not where you got the name. So, I guess the question has to be asked, where did you get the name?
Okay, so back when I was a wee little kid, my dad kind of just bought me any game he wanted. I had a Dreamcast, I had a GameCube, I had a PS2, an Xbox Original, and an Xbox 360.
Right.
But obviously, I didn't have online. And I always wanted online. And my dad kind of pushed and pushed because, he didn't want his kid online with a bunch of weirdos, which I completely understand. And I think it got to a point where it was like, okay, I think he's old enough. And I knew that Xbox original names, like the generated ones, are always like really bad. Like, I don't know, like Steamed Peas 97. So I'm like, oh, I gotta change my name the second I get it, right? So got home, put in the Xbox Live stuff, and I saw the name was Wistful Raptor 2, and I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? That's actually not terrible because like it's two words that could make sense together. It's just fast and Raptor, so I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I live in Toronto, so Toronto Raptors exist already.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll keep it. So I never changed my Xbox name for the like 8-10 years I played on my 360, and then I came to Steam. And I was like, well, I want to take that name, but not the wistful part and the 2 because it was like, why keep that part? So I kept the Raptor part. And then I kind of got tired of just being so like bland. So I'm like, okay, I gotta find something to match with it. And I started throwing things around, and Rex kind of fit, kind of like a puzzle piece. And when I found that, the logo I have right now, I was, I think, 15 in my communications technology class, basically like a Photoshop class. And I made this logo myself when I was 15, and I kept it. And I'm like, these two just fit hand in hand, I feel.
Yeah, they definitely do. I assumed that it was because of a love for dinosaurs, but that makes total sense now that I think about it. But no, that's awesome, dude. And I'm glad that it kind of ties into something that comes from your history, comes from who you are. So that's sick. That's a creative way to get your name right there. I like that. I definitely like that. But great answer. Moving on to question number 2. So this is a question I also asked to all of my content creators. What got you into For Honor in the first place? What drew you to it?
It's a really good one. I've been playing this game for a long time. Like, I bought this game back when, I think just after Centurion got his nerf that made him not broken. And I still remember I played a lot of duels. The game felt awful, I'm not gonna lie. The game for a first hand felt terrible. It was clunky, it was slow, it just didn't feel good to play. So I had to put it down. But slowly I kept playing. Then I learned how to parry on my own because I didn't read the tutorials very well. And then I started kind of just being like really good. Like, I started playing games after I learned how to parry, and the game just felt good. And my problem is that I've never been good at any fighting games. Mortal Kombat, always tried, never liked how like uber competitive in the 1v1 scenarios. Didn't like Injustice or Injustice 2. Again, just the 1v1 scenarios didn't really speak to me in a fighting game because it's too serious for my liking. Right. So when I saw 4v4s and I played it and I like enjoyed it, I had so many good moments, so many like anti-ganks, team fights, like everything just felt really good with multiple players. I could play with my friends. So I think really Dominion was what kept me playing the game. And what like drew me in was those cartoons. I've talked about this before in my one of my videos. It was the Lawbringer one. I watched him play Lawbringer, and I thought the character itself looked really cool. You have this badass guy in armor. Like what 16, 15-year-old is gonna look at that and not go like, damn, that's sick. And he had the flying leaves effect on with the flame wings. And I thought, wow, I want this. So I booted up Lawbringer, and I emoted, and I stood still, and I'm like, where's my flames? Where are my flames at? And I never got my flames, and I was so puzzled for a long time. And then I realized, oh, it's an effect. I get that.
Okay. I mean, I kind of get that. Like, I think that's interesting that you were drawn into Dominion. You said that you played Mortal Kombat and other fighting games like that, so not a big fan of the 1v1. Was it also maybe the 3D nature of For Honor that also got to you? Because I know that those fighting games feel very 2D and one-dimensional. Maybe the ability to move around the map a bit more gave you a bit more freedom, because I've heard some people say that that's unique and something fun about For Honor that drew people in.
I mean, like I mean, I think For Honor still is a fantastic, beautiful game, but no, it really was just kind of like the aesthetic of the 1v1s that, like, any mistake you made, it was your own. There was, like, I guess no one else to put the blame on, and it was just like the stringing nature where, like, one mistake could lead to like a 10 to 15 second combo. But with For Honor, you make one mistake, it's almost over like the second it starts. Like, you can instantly get back into offense and defense. It's a good mix.
I can get behind that, yeah. And between you and me, I didn't like Mortal Kombat all that much either. I just could never get the combos right, and it felt way too competitive. So, yeah. I didn't get into it. But anyway, great answer. Appreciate that. Question number 3. So, what do you think is the hardest part of the kind of content you do? Like, what are your unique challenges you face when you want to make a video or make a piece of content for people?
For me, it has to be editing. Editing is a very long process. It can take me up to 5 to 6 hours per video, and it really depends on my mood. If anyone's kind of paid attention, I have not uploaded in a very substantially long time, and it's just because, I don't know, the week's been very, very hard on me, and when I'm not in a good mental state, I think too hard, and when I'm thinking too hard, then the videos don't come out very well, and they come out sloppy and poorly designed. So you need to have a good mindset when you go to edit these like massive things. You need to find out what are good jokes. You need to gather the clips to make sure what you're talking about stays in line with what's going on screen. So it all comes down to just editing.
Yeah,
is the hardest.
No, I get that, and your editing is, let me just say, top notch. It's really funny. I remember Wexra during the stream of her reacting to my video, she mentioned that it takes you hours to do that editing. And I look at what you do and I'm like, yeah, I can believe it, because that's a lot of effort and time put into each edit that I noticed. It's really good, but it definitely pays off. But I can tell, that's probably the biggest part.
I love Wex. She's my ride or die day one, honestly. Great person.
Really? Yeah. Okay, well, this isn't one of the questions, but I will ask. When you got into For Honor and you started your content creator journey, was Wexra or anyone else kind of someone who you kind of connected with and helped you grow or kind of assimilate into the community a bit? Like, who did you kind of latch onto that got you further and further?
I didn't really like grow with anyone. I think for me it was mostly a solo journey, because a lot of my content is solo styled, and I have nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when controversy started coming up around me, you know, I had people come defend me, but Wex was the first one to like come and reach for my name and like defend me, which again I've never forgotten, and that's why I keep her at such a high standard.
Yeah, she's awesome like that. She just is.
Other than that, I didn't collab very often, and I don't do ever. I collabed once with John DeLiner for the Jeopardy, which was fantastic. I love that. There was a guy named Saturday. He's a fantastic guy. He Twitch streamed. I don't know if he still does, but I think he comes around every now and then. But he did a lot of connections for me. Like, he got John DeLiner. He got a lot of other people to try to help me out. He was a great kind of guide.
That makes sense, and that's exactly kind of what I was looking for, because when I was getting started as a content creator, not a lot of people really reached out to me, because the content I did wasn't the kind that a lot of people were familiar with or knew how to help me grow in. I eventually connected with folks like Slanderous and eventually Havoc, but that took a long time. It took a long time before any of that happened. So I was curious, since you and Wextra are pretty close, I thought maybe she was someone who helped jump you into that. And since you brought it up, that phases perfectly into the next question. Question number 4 for you. The controversy thing. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but the question I did want to ask was, you don't have to go into it in full detail, but what would you say was the controversy or the cause of said controversy, and how do you feel about how it has been handled?
Okay, it's fine. We'll talk about that because, everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. I consider that video a mistake that I made. That was a fair mistake made out of complete anger, which can be understandable. Everyone needs to have some sort of learning. What's the word? You learn from your mistakes, basically. How it's been handled, I think overall it's fine, but there are definitely people out there that hold too much of a grudge against a human being for absolutely no reason. Like, they will hunt you down, they will make sure you don't have fun, which I genuinely don't understand why your goal is to make someone have a bad time. That just seems kind of shallow.
Right.
It feels like a reflection of yourself.
For sure. And now personally for me, I didn't find out about you through the controversy. So I didn't even know about it until someone brought it up. But when I learned the details, when you explained them to me, I think you told me all about it during that Dead by Daylight match we played. I was kind of shocked because I thought I don't find that to be a big deal. I've made mistakes in my videos. Every content creator has, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to hold that against you. But you would say that your channel has endured despite it, but you still have those elements that just give you a hard time.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, once it's not even just that, even being an opinionated channel, I talk, my whole thing is opinion.
Right.
And if someone doesn't have the same opinion as you, they can take it in a personal level, and they don't believe that your opinion could be right, so that means you're a bad person. So if they find you in game, they try to make you miserable for absolutely no reason. Right. But that's people, can't change them.
That's people. Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. Well, thank you for answering that. That leads us into question 5. Okay, this is also something I ask everybody. Do you have a main or particular approach to For Honor that you enjoy the most? Because some people don't have a main, but they approach a certain play style in For Honor. So would you say you have a main or a particular play style?
Well, I wouldn't say, you can say I can main Warden a lot, but he's not even, one of my best characters, for sure. Playstyle wise, it's just to have as much fun as possible, genuinely, because I can lose a game, but if I'm having fun in that game, it doesn't bother me all that much. If it seems to kind of get sweaty, then I can kind of morph into a sweat play style, confirm gank if I have to, but I don't find joy in it. Every game I go into, it's what can be fun? What can I do that is fun with just what I have?
That makes it so it's purely looking for fun in a game, and I totally can appreciate that. And this is going to be a difficult follow-up question to that, but what would you say is your I wouldn't say definitive, but how do you know when a game is fun and when it's not? What do you look for?
First, no one rage quitting. That's, I think, I think that is the number one thing that I know a game is going to be fun. I'll give a great example. Breach is by far my favorite game mode. Right. It is so undeniably fun, but what really makes it unfun is when people decide that after any inconvenience that it's their time to dashboard or task manager and leave without punishment. And that is hurtful for both teams, because now one team either has to play with a bot or do the same thing, and the other team eventually, the winning team has to fight AI the entire time, which is genuinely extremely unfun. So I would say thing that I know when a game is fun is when everyone's sticking around, no one's spamming thanks, no quick chat spam, everyone's just enjoying their time, no emote spamming on bodies for no reason. Right. It's just a calm game where everyone's just themselves.
It's hard to, and I agree with that. The reason I wanted to ask is because I think so many people in For Honor, I think one of the reasons why For Honor gets a reputation for toxicity is so many people have different aspects of what they say is fun. So for one person, fun is winning. If they're not winning, they're not having fun. For another, they're not having fun when they're up against certain characters. So I think your answer is kind of the same as mine. Like, as long as it's a chill game where everyone's doing their best and no one's quitting or chat spamming or remote spamming, it's a good experience.
Yeah. Someone came with me with their take on rage quitting, and they said they can do it because they bought the game so they can play it how they like. And my only counter argument was, but you're not playing the game. You're actively getting out of it. You're not playing it.
Exactly.
Which, agreed, you bought the game so you can do what you like with it. But to avoid a penalty with Task Manager or Dashboard, whatever you're doing to avoid it, that is not intended in the game. So you're not playing the game the way it's intended.
Right. No, I I actually agree with that. That is actually a great point. Like, I didn't think about that, but the idea is it's their game. They can play it how they want. If you're quitting the match, you're not. It's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Okay, so awesome. We're halfway through this, I know, but next question. I really do want to ask you this. Inside and outside of the world of For Honor, what are your goals or aspirations? Like, what do you want to see yourself do as a content creator in the future? Like, where do you want to see yourself reaching? And outside of For Honor, where do you see the skills you've used as a content creator getting you, if anywhere?
If there's one thing, like, the highest esteemed goal on my list would be hitting 100K. Like, a reasonable goal is hitting 100K. I'm already a quarter of the way there, which I'm eternally grateful for. I don't even think I'd ever get this far. I hit 5,000. I'd be like, all right, what's next? Like, am I done? Like, but we're almost at 25K. 100K would be like my esteemed goal. And for outside, I don't think my editing skills would help me in the future that I want, because I want to be a teacher. Yeah, I've worked as a teacher's assistant for 4 years. Actually, no, 6 years if you count the high school programs. So yeah, I've done it for 6 years, and I genuinely find a lot of joy in teaching, because when I was a kid, I had this horrible mindset that if I couldn't understand something myself, I would not ask for help until I figured it out myself, which was destructive, self-destructive. It didn't help me at all, and it impacted my grades. So I want to make sure that no kid thinks that way ever.
That's awesome. Well, you're talking to a teacher, so that's crazy. If you ever want to talk about the teaching field, I'd love to have that conversation with you sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
What do you like? This isn't in the list of questions, but what do you want to teach?
I'm Canadian, so one teacher kind of teaches majority of the subjects.
Oh.
But mostly math. I like math.
Okay, so you're a numbers guy. Okay,
I'm a numbers guy.
That's fine. I was never a numbers guy. Like, I got through algebra, and I was pretty much done after that. I'm a history and English guy, obviously, but yeah, no, that's obviously, but that's awesome though. That's cool. I think that's great that you want to go into teaching. I did not expect that answer, so that's awesome. That is really cool. All right, so that'll segue into my next question. Question number 7. Do you have any hobbies, interests, or passions outside of For Honor? Like, what things do you enjoy doing when you're not doing For Honor?
I play soccer. I'm a goalie. I'm not very great,
Same.
But I try my best, and I enjoy just the time I can spend with my friends.
Nice.
I used to snowboard. I kind of want to get back into it, but time and like to get to the mountain that I have to go to would take me a couple hours, so it's kind of tough without a car. And no, I'd say, like, outside of just playing video games itself, it's soccer, and that's it.
I was actually a goalie myself back in the day when I played soccer. Pretty crazy.
We seem a lot alike.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Well, I'm 6'5". I take up a lot of territory. So they just said, "Hey, dude, you're kind of big. You probably take up a quarter of the goal by yourself, standing still." So they just said, "We're gonna stick you there."
There's our one difference, height.
But no, that's awesome. And you snowboard. Do you live in an area that has a lot of snow, or do you have to go far away to do that?
Well, it has a lot of snow. Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, it snowed yesterday for like one day, and it was awful. But no, I'd have to travel like 2 hours to get to like the mountain range, which it's not like a no-go, but like, man, I don't want to do it by myself. I gotta find people to do it with me.
And you said you don't have a car. Does that mean, like, excuse me, this is personal, but how old are you? I didn't know that.
I am 23.
Okay. All right. But so you are old enough to have a car. You just don't have one yet.
Yeah. I do have a vehicle. It's just so horribly not working right now. I can show you a picture of my car. It's actually lovely.
Yeah, send it through Discord. We're
It was my father's car.
Yeah, you can send it. I'll put it in the video. No problem.
I absolutely, this is like my baby. I can understand how people talk about their cars as like their children, because this thing is like, I love this car to death.
I can't wait to see it. What kind of car is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
it is a 1988 Pontiac Trans Am.
Oh,
lovely vehicle.
God. That is a nice car. That is a very nice car.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
That is a great car. Is that your first, or did you?
That is my first. That was my father's before he passed, so I got it.
Dude, that is a nice car. My first car was a old busted up Taurus, so I'm insanely jealous. I'm now driving a Ford Pathfinder, like not a Ford. It's just an old Pathfinder car that my dad just gifted to me because he got a new car. It works though. Anyway, off topic. Off topic. Okay, so next question. We are on question number 8. You kind of answered this, but if you could go into more detail on it, what do you think was the biggest motivation for making your channel or content? Because it's one thing to play For Honor, but it's another to actually start making content on it. What made you take the step from wanting to just play a game and then actually talk about it? What changed?
So I've always kind of taken clips before, like in every game I've ever played. I've kind of grabbed clips, but I never really made videos out of them. I made like some Red Dead Redemption videos all the way back in the past. I love those videos still. But I never did any on For Honor because I didn't really care too much, because I'm like, I can't do anything that I think would be unique. And then slowly we started losing those unique YouTubers, Flux Deluxe, Jackal Wolfenheart, Vita Neon. I mean, he posts every now and then, but not to the extent that he used to. So love that guy. Great person.
Oh, he's hilarious. He's really cool.
So I thought, like, I have all these clips when Warmonger's Hero Skin came out. I can try something with this. And I guess mimicked their editing styles and like their video styles, and I made the Conquistador experience, which that video is still pretty good for its time.
Yeah, I still like it.
And it got like, I think 1,000 views on the first day, and I'm like, holy shit, okay, like this is doable. This is doable. I made the second one, and it's same thing. I made the third one, and I think it tanked a little bit because I think I was playing Hitakiri. Honestly, completely understandable.
I get that.
And then I kept going. It was kind of just like a hobby thing. I kind of posted whenever I wanted. And then slowly I gained traction, and I'm like, this is actually doable. And I tried to like fill that rule, because like we have the greats, you know, Havoc that does his duels content with great commentary. You have Your Lore, but no one was really filling in the meme categories for quite some time. So I kind of wanted to kind of fix that a little bit. And even now, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but
that's cool.
The experience videos that I've been making, like the Centurion experience, the Tune experience, I've seen recently more, or so not the experience, the EXE videos that I made. People have been making their own EXEs, which I'm eternally grateful for people that are stepping up and making meme content, because that's, I think, what the game needs. Like, a game is thrived by its content creators, and to make the game look enjoyable is the first step of being a content creator.
Absolutely. No, and what I was going to say was, I think it's so cool that you said that, because, you know, talking to Havoc and some others, a lot of them started making content for very similar reasons. They looked at something lacking in the content community and said, I want to make this. And I mean, that's what I did. That's what you did. And that's crazy. And I love that you kind of felt like we need more meme content, since the greats like Jack Wolfenheart and Vita Neon aren't doing it as much. What I will also say is, have you heard of a YouTuber? He's kind of smaller, but have you heard of the Red Man?
Yes, I've seen his videos, the EXE videos every now and then.
Yeah, he does good. I like his work. It's very much the meme content that we've been lacking, so I would definitely recommend him to anyone who hasn't heard of him. So if you're watching this and you haven't heard of the Red Man, go check him out. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, good videos.
Yeah, he makes good ones. Okay, so we got 2 more questions. So number 9. What do you want to see happen to For Honor in the future? Like, what would you like to see For Honor do in the next few years?
Well, for the first few years, I think I want to see what they did with Siege to For Honor. And people are going to say, like, oh, you're too optimistic. Siege hit its 10-year anniversary, and now Siege X is coming out, which is a revamped, new engine way to play Siege. It's basically like an Overwatch 2. It's an upgrade without being, Overwatch 2's bad side.
Right.
I want For Honor to go through the same thing. I want For Honor to get to year 10 and then make For Honor X or whatever, For Honor 2, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care about the name. But I think a lot of problems in For Honor right now lie with its engine and its spaghetti code. And the devs kind of need this baseline to, like, from the ground up to remake the game. Because right now, I mean, For Honor is a really great, unique game. But I feel like it's being held back by the spaghetti code. For example, when they were talking about Zergtech being in the game, they were like, "Ooh, it's something wrong. Like, the code is really entangled. Like, to remove Zergtech, we'd have to, like, rework the character from the ground up." Thankfully, they got rid of it. But I feel like a lot of problems lie with the code. Right. Being outdated and old. So I definitely want to see a ground up revamp. Surely.
That'd be awesome.
And I want, like, I know it's kind of like wishing for less content, but I genuinely do want that 1 year, that one full year that just focuses on the game's health, game balancing. Just, I want to see patch notes of like 10 different characters getting touched in certain ways. I want to see hero testing grounds come back, which thankfully I think they are, but multiple hero testing grounds, not just one character, because respectively, single hero testing grounds are very boring to play for longevity.
Yes.
Because it's always going to be the same character versus the same character, 1v1s, 4v4s. There's no incentive to play any other character other than the one that has changed. So if they change multiple characters per testing ground and slap double XP on it, I know people are going to say, like, you didn't say slap double XP, slap double XP on it to incentivize people to play it anyways. It would benefit them entirely because of all the data they'd be receiving with the testing ground.
Yes, I actually agree with you 100%. I never liked the idea of just single hero adjustments. It made no sense. I thought Warden was okay just because it was a first case basis, but I didn't think they'd do it 2 more times in a row. So no, I'm with you there. And I'm already scared to look at the Berserker testing ground. I'm so scared to look at it.
I think that's sadly I think they're gonna say the same thing they did with PK because no one played it. The feats didn't look very enticing. And the 4th feat was game breaking for Breach, because if you are alive for 20 seconds beating the shit out of Commander, I mean, the game is over.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
I honestly didn't mind the PK ones too much. I thought they just overcooked it a little. Berserker's just broken. They've just broken.
Yeah, Berserker's like, yikes, man. What the hell are we doing?
All right, so last question, and this is one, really think on this one. Question number 10. There are a lot of new players coming to For Honor, and a lot of people who are asking questions to me. How do you get into the content making sphere? So what would you say? What advice would you give to someone who was just starting For Honor or have been playing it and want to get into content creation? What would you tell a person who is just getting started on either route? Like, what advice would you give?
Okay, first thing is first. I think I say this all the time, but thumbnails, unique thumbnails matter. It doesn't have to be like a Mona Lisa work of art. Like, I mean, look at mine. Because majority of people trying to look at something that is going to be enjoyable on YouTube will not click on a pre-made thumbnail that YouTube makes you, like something that's just pure gameplay. Just take time. Canva is a free app on Google. That's where I make all my thumbnails. You don't have to pay for it. I do pay for it.
I do too.
Yeah, Canva's great. You make thumbnails, it will reach a broader audience than just not using any thumbnails. That is like my first ever tip I can give anyone, is thumbnails are key.
It's a good tip.
And second, try to strave away from pure gameplay and like how do I explain this? Just try to stay away from just uploading gameplay with your commentary, because again, this is not an insult to anyone that makes it, but you have fantastic YouTubers like Havoc, John DeLiner, everyone that does this already. Be as unique as possible. Try to do something very, very unique. See what's missing. Even the meme content. If you want to do meme content is always unique to the person making it.
Right.
No one's videos is the same. My videos, Redman's, even I think his name is a boy. Every person makes different styles of content. It's kind of hard to make just duels, brawls, Dominion with commentary unique without like its own spin, which is again just very, very hard. That's why I always stayed away from making straight gameplay videos. It's always got to do something else.
I agree. I think actually I would even add on to that bit about avoiding just personal commentary videos. The reason why you want to avoid that, I would say, is because to make that work, you as a creator have to be really entertaining yourself. Havoc and John DeLiner and folks like them have been doing it so long and have such a personality that people recognize that they draw people in just from that personality alone. Even if they lost every match they played, their personality as they approach it is something everyone recognizes and enjoys. As a brand new content creator, your personality won't be as recognized yet, so people will have a harder time getting latched onto you. So I definitely agree with that.
I would also say stay away from toxicity videos. Like, I understand it might be a cheap, easy win to be like, oh, salty this, salty that, salty player, salty person rages at me. Like, it's cool, but at the same time, you're kind of damaging the overall health of the game outside of it. You're showing a toxic side of it that doesn't truly exist that often. Like, yeah, you get emote spammed, yes, thanks, whatever. But to upload it and constantly upload toxicity videos, it feels awfully damaging to the overall game.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, you don't have to be like goody goody gumdrops, like nice person, like ass kisser Ubisoft player. But you don't. I'd say like there were plenty of opportunities for me that someone said something rude in game or like something really angry. They get really angry and then like they get their comeuppance, and I've clipped it. But then I think, like, is it really worth it to just kind of shove this guy down like a kaleidoscope or a microscope and make him look like an asshole for no reason? Like, it's just not worth it.
Right. Yeah, I get that. And I think there are people out there who make that kind of content and they can be entertaining for it. But I also think that, it's you can't, not every For Honor content creator needs to do that or hone in on it.
Yeah.
Plus, one thing that you pointed out that I like, you said very clearly, this is a part of the community that is not as prevalent. You don't see as much of it, and so as a result of that, you're going to have a hard time finding that content. Like, you'd actually have to be fishing for that toxicity, and you might not get it for a few days or weeks. So yeah, that would really hurt your content. But anyway, excellent advice. And those are all 10 of my questions for you, Mr. Raptor. So now, with that out of the way, if you want to have any questions to ask me before we close out, I open the floor to you.
Sure, and you can say if you've answered this before or not. Like, what dove you? You said you were a history teacher. Were you a history teacher before you were a content creator, or like what's the?
I was technically a content creator about the same time I was a teacher, but I was not super popular yet. I was still just getting into it. I think it was about the time that I released my big popular video, the Apollyon versus Astria video, where I really, got big. About that time, I was teaching history for my second year of high school, and after that, I drifted away from teaching to pursue other career paths. But yeah, I was making content at that time, so yes, I was.
And what spoke to you? What were you like saying? Like, oh, I want to make lore videos. Like, what was your motive for that?
So it's a long story, but I'll keep it as brief as possible. What really drove me to For Honor was the history. Like, I'm that kind of kid who loved, knights, samurai, Vikings. I grew up learning that history and the cultures and the languages. And so that's what drew me to the game. But when I saw how bad the game was, or at least it was in a bad place, I didn't recognize it as that bad, but I wanted to find content creators who talked about the good things, and I saw none. So I said, well, even if no one likes the gameplay, I like this aspect that it's about historical figures, so I'm gonna talk about the history behind the characters and behind the figures and behind the cultures. And that kind of got me started. But as I saw that there was lore to this game, like, this wasn't just random knights, samurai, and Vikings fighting, there is actually a lore behind it all. As a writer, as a storyteller, I thought, wow, I didn't know that. I'm gonna actually try to dissect this and look at it from a writing perspective. And that was about the time I did the Apollyon versus Astria discussion, because I was breaking down character analysis. And as I looked at it, I thought, there is so much more to this game than just funny sword game / stab. There's actually something to it. And I even made the claim, and I'll still make that claim, that's part of what draws some people to it. Not everyone, certainly, but there is a sizable audience that came to this game going, there's more to this than just your average fighter game where, because I would make the argument, you don't even need to know the story of Mortal Kombat or any of these other fighting games. You just recognize it because, oh, look, this is the style of fighting that these games give. I could never tell the difference between Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. I'll be honest. They just look the same to me. But with For Honor, it stands out not only in its mechanics, but also the story, I think, stands out. I don't think it's top tier story writing. I think it has a lot of problems, but the story is there. And I wanted to make content on that. I wanted to talk about what was good about it, what was bad about it, what could be better about it. And if they can't make it better, I'll make my own, you know? So that's kind of how I approached it.
Yeah, perfect. That's all from me.
Okay, well, hey, that's a fair question, and it's one that I do get asked from time to time. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I want to thank Raptor for agreeing to join me for this. If you guys want to go and sub to his channel, and I mean, why wouldn't you? He's awesome, and he deserves to reach that 100,000 goal. I haven't reached it myself, so help us both out. If you haven't subbed to me, hit that sub button, and if you haven't subbed to him, hit the link in the description. It will be down there. Go click it, give him a sub, check out his content. It is really worth the watch and worth the time. Any last words you want to say, Raptor, before we close out?
The same as you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. You should support Raven Knight. If you want to support me, all for it. But yeah, thank you guys as much as always, and I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, guys. As always, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.